Okay, so this is steps to graph. And I'm still on page 31. I'm just fitting 4 steps that we need to write down, or 3 steps, sorry. Steps to graph. Okay, number 1, the first thing you're going to do is find your vertex, which is, your vertex is the pointy part. I'm sorry, I should have labeled that. So go back up to your picture and let's label the vertex. This dot right here is the vertex. And the other thing I want you to do is draw a dotted line for your line of symmetry. So the line of symmetry, think back to geometry, that's the place you would fold such that it's the same. So where would you fold this graph so it's the same? Sideways or right down the middle?
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle. So this is called your LOS, line of symmetry. Line of symmetry. Notice your line of symmetry is a vertical line. So what kind of equation do vertical lines have? X equals or Y equals? X. And what's x equal for this one? X equals 0, because it goes straight through the vertex. That's 0, 0. So if I ask you for the equation of the line of symmetry, in this example, it would be x equals 0. All right. Gosh, lots of geometry coming back to you, too. Okay, so your vertex is this point right here. So in order to find the vertex, you have to know your h and your k. That's the thing that moves it side to side or up and down. That one just tells you if it's going to open wide or narrow, okay? So if you're going to find your vertex, the ordered pair is going to be h comma k. So find your vertex, which is the h and the k, and plot. So find your vertex, the h comma k, and then plot that dot. All right, after you have a dot down for the vertex, step number 2 is you go right 1 and then up or down your A value. You go over 1, which means right 1, and then up or down A. So if A is 5, I go over 1, up 5. If A is a half, I go over 1, up a half. And then you would have the right side of that graph, so then you just have to reflect the dot, or I should say point, over the line of symmetry, LOS. Reflect the dot over your line of symmetry. So all kinds of characteristics to know with this graph. Important thing today is how to graph it and know the parts, okay? How the vertex is moving.
Is that over?
Yeah, reflect the dot over the line of symmetry, LOS. All right, so let's practice, okay? So over here, you have 4 examples. The first 3 we're going to graph, and then the last one we're going to write the equation. So let's remind ourselves up here, because the stuff on the board is going to go away. Remember, the parent graph can change, and the form is A, absolute value of x minus h, close your bar, plus k. All right, that's going to be helpful for you to pick out your vertex. All right, so number 1. I put that at the top so you can refer back to it. So let's pretend number 1 says, I want you to graph f of x equals absolute value of x plus 1, close your bar, minus 2. The absolute value of x plus 1 minus 2. All right, and this is something that you're not going to rely on Desmos for. When you go to do the ACT, you can't use Desmos. So your test on this stuff, we're going to test for now without Desmos. There will be time later in the year when I let you use it, but not for this. All right, so if I want to graph this, what was my first step that we just wrote down? Find the vertex, which is the h and the k, and plot. So the h and the k is that and that, correct? So let's put a V for vertex. Now, be careful here. The minus changed to a plus. What does that mean they subbed in? A negative. Everybody agree with that? The minus in the original equation changed to a plus. That means they wrote x minus -1. And that means you subbed in a what? -1. And then what they put in for the k? The k was a plus and now it's a minus, so they put -2 in. So everybody check and make sure you agree with that vertex. -1 and -2. All right. Now, all we do is plot that vertex. So go to your graph over here, -1, -2. So left 1, down 2, put a dot. -1, -2, put a dot. And then it says, go right 1, and then up or down your A value. Okay, what is the A value in this case?
0.
Not 0, because it would wipe it all away. It's a 1. There's a 1 here that you don't see. Not a 0, because otherwise it would go all away. 0 times anything is gone. All right, so that means you're going to go over 1, up 1. So did this one get wider or narrow at all? No, that stayed the same as the parent graph. And then go left 1, up 1. And there is our graph. Okay, I want some answers here. So how about a domain and range? Did they change? When you did, it's called a translation. When you slide things, you did that in geometry, a translation. I'm going to stop this again, otherwise it'll get